So, hi everyone, Marie here. As a result of our recent surveys that we've sent out to teachers involved in the self-assurance reviews, we've had many conversations with the quality team, the EdDev reps who have been involved in the review process, lots of conversations with teachers across the whole organisation, and we've identified there's lots of common themes that are coming out from the conversations and the review process. So we're aware that there's a lot going on at the moment, and we understand at times change can bring up some different feelings and emotions for everybody. So we're here to support you through this changed approach to the self-assurance and preparation for our 2022 re-registration. Today, we're going to give you an opportunity to hear from Yasmin Chalmers, who's Head of Centre for Science and Technology, and Cindy Hannam, who's an awesome teacher in the TAE space, and myself. We're going to address some of your feedback and discuss some of the things we're seeing and hearing from the ground. I'll also be sharing some news with you following queries and concerns that have been raised during these review processes that will, I think, make life a little bit easier in the Gordon Online space and the resulting of students' assessments. So stay tuned to hear the outcome of that conversation as we progress through this little chat. So welcome Yasmin and Cindy. It's great to have you both here and the opportunity to chat about what you're seeing and what's working for you in your roles in the self-assurance process. So Cindy, maybe we'll start with you. We've been hearing many teachers are feeling overwhelmed by this process. It's new, something we're all learning, and with everything else that's happening at the Gordon and juggling teaching and, especially with the recent circuit breaker lockdowns, and we don't know when they're going to happen, but, you're on the ground, you're part of the TAE team, you're juggling classroom delivery, online delivery, but you're also a key stakeholder in the self-assurance review process. Can you give us some practical advice about how you're managing all the demands of teaching that might assist some of our teachers out there, to reduce that feeling of overwhelmedness?
Yeah, thank you, Ray. It certainly is a challenging time, and it is a little bit tough keeping all the balls in the air at the moment with everything that's going on. But we also know that this is a process that we need to work with together on, that this is a process that should involve your whole team rather than just one person in particular holding that burden. And, supporting each other in conversations about the SARS process and some of the findings from the SARS process. We think that one of the things that you could be doing if you are feeling overwhelmed is having more conversations with the team and working out how to get support from your direct team, but also outside of your team. I know that we've had some great discussions in our office about what should be included in session plans, what our DAP should look like. So I think there's a really good opportunity to chat with people outside of your team as well. But I think speaking with your manager and heads of centre about how they can help you and making sure that you're asking for assistance when needed is really important too.
Yeah, some great points there. And I think that one about speaking to other teams and, that cross collaboration between teams is awesome. I think I've seen a lot of that happening when I've been involved in the processes lately. So what's one positive that you're seeing from this process, Cindy?
Well, I've seen a few positives, and one of it is the chat that goes on in the office. But I think the other thing for me is we've been improving things along the way, but we actually haven't had the opportunity perhaps to stop and reset and make sure everything's in line. So that's a great comfort that we have now, taking the time to make sure all our I's are dotted and T's are crossed, I suppose. And of course, it's all about the student journey. So, we're doing this for the students.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Cindy, for sharing what's going on in your TAE world. Yasmin, as part of the self-assurance process, we've been identifying improvements in our assessment and learning tools, which will then be added to our corrective actions register for a strategic rollout of fixes in semester 2. We're getting a lot of questions and a lot of feedback in our recent survey that people were asking why are we doing it this way? Why do we have to do the SARS reviews? Why aren't we fixing things as we find them? And, you know, why is this like an ongoing requirement? You know, why do we have to do this next year? Maybe you might be able to share with us your thoughts on why are we doing it this way, and, you know, what you can see the benefit of this for the organisation.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, happy to do that. So why do we have to do a self-assurance review? So it's giving us an opportunity to really reflect on and rely policies, procedures and processes across the Institute. It gives us a chance to really hone in and collect some evidence that we can communicate with ASQA that we are actually managing our risk and that we're actually committed to delivering quality training for our students. The self-assurance review process is pretty much a deep dive review of our high risk courses. As many of you are experiencing at the moment, it's given us that opportunity to identify and fix any issues as they arise, helps us to manage the risks, to produce some quality outcomes, and it's also about ensuring that we give that quality student experience and outcome at the end of the day. I think one of the really key points about it is that it gives us confidence that we know how we can meet the ASQA requirements both now and into the future. So it's really a whole of institute approach. It's not just, whilst there's many individual people involved in it, it's a whole of institute approach. So it's a big team effort here, and that everyone at the Gordon is involved in it, from teacher to manager to other people behind the scenes in the process areas. So right now, everyone's beavering away and working inside their groups and their review teams in what we call the planning phase, or phase 1, that we are on home straight. We're nearly there. 25th of June is when we're going to have that completed. And then after that, we move into our phase 2 in semester 2. So I think the other point of the question, Marie, that you asked was why we are not fixing issues as we find them.
Yeah, if you can explain that, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. I know this is a big temptation that as you go along, you find a problem, you want to fix it straight away. But as this is a collective or a collaborative approach to it, we want to ensure that we understand holistically across the Institute, or you could say from a bird's eye view, what's cropped up out of our findings, particularly if we're finding that there's similarities in some of the opportunities that we need to explore further. So then we want to approach that more systematically, you know, whether this means that we need to change some of our processes or systems and apply that across the board, as opposed to individuals just suddenly fix it and it may not be hitting the mark as well as what we would do in a collaborative approach. So we've got to always remember that it is a team effort and that we're supporting each other, and that moving forward we're going to enhance all that collaborative work between the centre areas and the program areas. And I'm also seeing that it's going to give a chance for teachers and other individuals to come together and learn from each other, share between the areas, and have a chance to mentor or coach each other with some internal critiquing as well.
Great. Thanks, Jasmine. That's a really good overview. And I think from where I sit in that bird's eye view that I have of the processes that are happening, I can really see that collaboration happening, and that desire, I think, for people to want to fix things now, to look at it from the point of view of the student and go, how can I make this assessment better for the student, better for when they get out into the workforce? And that's really positive to hear those conversations that are happening. So well done to everybody that's working in this space at the moment. And you know, I think the whole idea of having the support team with, you know, the EdDev rep and the quality rep working with the teachers and the program managers and the head of centres, having more than one person looking at an assessment and our learning and our learning tools for students is really, I think, has been the biggest change. We can't do it in isolation. You can't do it. You know, I imagine, Cindy, as a TAE teacher, when you're teaching the TAE, you explain to the teacher, you know, that your students that you can't write an assessment in isolation. You need to be able to
review and
yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and I think as teachers, sometimes we when we've been teaching for a long time, we tend not to do that. So but this has given us, as you said, this time to stop and reflect and think about how can we do it better. So I think that's, for me, that's the most exciting part and the most positive part of this process that we're seeing. I said at the beginning, there's a small win that we've had as part of this process. So I think people are going, what's that project team doing? What's the project steering group doing? So what we're doing is hearing all the things that need to be improved, or the policies and procedures that may not be aligned with what is happening on the ground. So a conversation that's been happening for a while now is about our unit outcome summary sheets that we download from the TET site, and we fill in and get the students to sign to say they've record all the results of their assessment outcomes. So we've had this, do we need it? Yes, we do need a unit outcome summary for students. We need to ensure that they're informed of their outcome of their assessments. So we've had some program areas who have implemented something on Gordon Online, a version of our template. I've been speaking with some of the Gordon Online crew, and they've come up with some ideas about how it could look on Gordon Online. And so I've pulled together a working party to have this conversation about what can we do, how can we make it easier for teachers, and how can we inform students as quickly as possible about their outcomes from their assessments, ensuring we meet the standards and the requirements. So happy to say that we are right now in the process of reviewing our assessment policy to ensure that this new change on Gordon Online can start happening. So we're hoping to get the policy reviewed over the next couple of weeks to the Board of Studies for approval, and semester 2 should see a unit outcome summary on Gordon Online in some form. So keep your eye out for the communication coming out about that. And I'm working with all the different key stakeholders to make sure that this works and it can be useful, and hopefully ease some, create clarity, I think, for the teachers and the students. So we'll also be looking for some input from teachers about when we're reviewing the policy. So keep an eye out for an email coming out asking for some feedback. So yeah, what do you think about that, Cindy?
Very good. Thank you. It's been a while coming. Pleased to hear it's happening.
Yeah, so I think one of the things from this process is that we're in a position where we can have that bird's eye view. We can see what needs to be done, and Katie and I are able to pull people together to have the conversations to make some really good changes where they're required for the outcomes for the students, which will be great. So, yeah.
That's great, Marie, and that just triggers me thinking that that's a perfect example of continuous improvement. I mean, it's all about empowering ourselves to really solve those problems and make improvements so as we can, improve things into the future and ensure that our teaching and learning resources and delivery and everything for our students is going to meet their needs and obviously translate into where they want to go afterwards. So, and I think that's the next positive outcome out of all this process, is that we're getting people connected in amongst their teams and further across the institute, that we're reviewing and critiquing our own work to ensure that we're going to be delivering the most quality and compliant teaching, and that we're going to keep it up to date with industry currency as well. And I think that's where we're going to really kick some goals and make those leaps, because by having that confidence to review and critique your own work allows you to bring in more opportunities and make a really unique product that we want to provide out there. So yeah, this whole SAR process has been a great way for people to come together and share that.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Yasmin. Agree, yeah. Well, thanks, Yasmin and Sydney, for your time. We'll possibly be doing some more of these along the way, so with different people. So if you have any queries, concerns, reach out, give us you know, pick up the phone, send us an email. We're more than happy to help you. But, you know, keep going. We're doing a great job. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
Thanks, Jess.